Welcome back. In this video, I do a bit more tuning on the bike and get it one step closer to its first ride. So you can see here, it's been running pretty rich still. It's running better. So what I do is just clean up the plugs, just burning off the carbon. I know it's not an ideal thing to do, but I'm just doing this so I can get through the tuning phase. And once I do this, I take the carbies off, and there's a few things I want to do to get it back to more of an original setting. So I've got a lot of mods, these K&N filters to start with. I lightly ported the head. It's got bigger pistons, more stroke, so it's 820. And there's not really a setup that I know about that's going to make these work just, straight after rebuild. So lucky for me, I've got a spare set of carbies that I can swap a few things out, and I've got a number of spare jets. And if you look at my earlier Carby video, one of the mods I did was drilling out the holes in the slide valve, and these are the spare ones I've got that are still original, so I'm going to put these back in. And the purpose of drilling those holes out is it allows the slide valves to close much quicker when you decelerate, but it also changes the amount of effort it takes to lift them, so they lift slower. So you can see there on the left the drilled out ones, and I'll just swap them back. With carbies full of fuel, I find it's easier just to take the bowls off like this carefully. The fuel's still in there, and just dump the fuel. And then once you do that, the carbies are literally clear and you won't get any fuel anywhere. One of the kits I had O-ring seals on the jet, so I did try those. I wasn't too happy with it, so in the end I swapped them back. One of the things I do is just check the floats to make sure I've got the right fuel level, which it is. You can see I take that O-ring seal out, and after changing the slide valves, the other thing I do is I put slightly smaller pilot jets. The jets I had in there were 45s, which are quite big, and these ones are 42, so I just got on slightly smaller. Now you can see this slide valve here. This is back to original, and you can see how slowly it closes. And I've got one to go here. This is the drilled out one, and you can see that it just sort of snaps close. It makes a massive difference drilling those holes out. So bit of spray inox on there, slide them back in, and at this point I've changed the pilot jets, I've checked the floats, I have put original slides back in, and I'm putting it back in the bike just to see how it all runs and if I could get this to run a little bit better. You probably heard in the first start there, it was running okay, but it was way too rich, and it was sort of had a bit of a flutter to it as well. Now, one of the benefits of putting all new rubber boots on is you can actually push these on just one person. So I do that, put the AirPods back in, put the spark plugs back in, and then with this bit of a tweak, I see how it runs. Now, I made my own sinking tool, which is just 4 clear tubes with some light oil in it, just to see when I do get it to run how synced the carbies are, because I did do some bench sync, which it gets it pretty close. And you'll see in a moment here, they were a little bit out. I did tune it a little bit. Now, I don't have the Yix blanking tool at the moment. I've got it on order. And yeah, I did mess with it a bit, and I got them pretty close. Now, after this, I've run it for a bit. I'll take the plug out again and just see how the plugs look. And, after this, they're still running. It's still running a bit rich. It is better. The other thing I do is I put a brand new set of plugs in. I change it to a BP7 ES, and what I had in there before was a BP6, which is a hotter plug. Give it another run. There you go. So it's running a lot better at this point. Burning a bit of smoke though, because I think it's still rich. The plug's starting to look a lot better at this point. So I do it again, and what I find is that the choke's holding itself open. So obviously something not quite right with the choke. I'll mess with this a bit more, and in the next video hopefully it will be right for the first ride. Stay tuned.